This is the all-new Polestar 2 2024 version, where Polestar has changed one fundamental thing from previous versions. And because of that, we're going to do today a full electro-exam of this car. My name is Lars and we're testing the Polestar 2 because it is totally electric. Welcome to Totally Electric, where I test drive electric cars and talk about electric mobility. We always do this from the point of view of the actual user. In this video, we're going to do an ElectroExam of this car. ElectroExam is our proprietary format where we evaluate the car according to 8 different categories, weigh them all together and give it a score from 0 to 100. If you would like to compare with the result from other ElectroExams, you can do that on our website. I'll link down in the description below, where you can even change the weight of each of the categories so you can find the vehicle that suits you best. Now let's get on with it and see what this Polestar 2 is all about. The exterior of this car hasn't changed at all since it was launched back in 2019, but there are some important changes done to the inside of it. The good guys at Polestar, they've now fitted 82 kilowatt hours of batteries in this instead of the previous 77 kilowatt hours, and they've moved the motor. Instead of being front wheel drive, it's now rear wheel drive, which is much better, especially taking into account that this car outputs 300 horsepower, same as 220 kilowatts. With this new configuration, we accelerate from 0 to 106.2 seconds. We get 205 kilometers as the max speed, which coincidentally is actually the same as the kilowatt charge rate in a DC fast charger. We're definitely going to have to test all of that later on. But most importantly perhaps is the new long range that this car can do. 657 kilometers according to WLTP standard. I think we're going to have to do a highway test for this and see what it really does. The exterior of the Polestar 2 hasn't changed a bit, and that is because if it ain't broken, don't fix it. As you can see, it's somewhere in between a sedan and an SUV, a bit higher here in the back than we see on many of the other more aerodynamically shaped cars nowadays, but I think it actually makes it look like powerful. I really like this exterior. The rest is just Scandinavian minimalism. Let me show you what I mean. The length of this car is 4.61 meters. The Polestar stands at 1.86 meters wide and 1.48 meters tall. In the front, it's simple Scandinavian design, with even the logo being in the same color as the rest of the car. We'll find a camera in the front for 360 view, a mid-range radar for the ADAS system, as well as some parking sensors here in the front, which are nicely integrated into the black grille plastic thingy we've got down here. The front headlights are the typical Volvo design with Thor's hammer, as well as in this case LED projection inside. This is an LED matrix projection that'll turn off zones of the light so it won't blind oncoming traffic even when you have your high beams on. It's great, works really good, but it is a €2,300 option. You get 2 physical keys with this car, aside from the fact that you can open it with your mobile phone application. One of them is this little fellow here, which is an interesting one because this is an action key. It's got no buttons on it and it's supposed to be submergible. You can put it in your Speedos and nothing's going to happen. It's all good and it'll still open when you're back. Start the car once you're inside. Nice little touch. One of my favorite design features with the Polestar 2 is that the outside rear view mirrors have no frames on it, which also means that when you move and adjust the mirrors, you move the entire housing, not just the mirror inside it. Very cool and something I've not seen on other cars. This is a 5-door sedan, which means that this one will have a big opening, so I can even kick underneath it. And it's going to reveal this marvelous space I have inside here. Since it's being 5 doors, not just 4, means that I can easier access this space in here. If I want to, I don't know, log in a few dead bodies or a fridge or something, it's much easier this way. Charge port is in the rear left, which is where it's supposed to be, because if you pull up to a Tesla supercharger, that's the easiest way to plug it in there. Nothing particularly special about it, except that there's a little button in there so you can let loose of the cable. You don't have to go in and do it inside on the screen. We've got 20-inch wheels on this thing. You can also get them with down to 18 inches, which I probably would have preferred, especially if I'm looking to get the most range out of this thing, but they do look good, don't they? So the Polestar 2 looks as good as it did 5 years ago. Nothing's changed and nothing needs to change. If I wanted to complain about something, maybe the exterior colors could be a bit more interesting. This one is sort of asphalt, rainy day grey. There's also 2 other greys, a white and a black. Where's like the yellow and the red and the green and the orange and the flamboyant colors? I guess that's not very Scandinavian. Okay, we're doing a range test of the Polestar 2, and the way we do it is we've charged it to 100%. Well, right now it's at 98%, and we're going to drive on the highway at maximum speed, or at 120 kilometers per hour, maximum legal speed. And we're going to turn around when we reach 50%, and we're going to see how far we go. Let's do it. Okay, I'm doing 120 on the highway. I'm ready to do the range test. Despite the fact that it says 121 here on the car, it is actually 120 exactly, as you can see from the high precision GPS that I'm using here. This is because different cars will over-report the speed. I've seen up to 125 being equivalent of the actual 120. So if I'm gonna compare different cars, I need to compare at exactly the same speed, so I always use a high precision GPS to get to the exact speed there. It's 16 degrees Celsius outside, which is this many Fahrenheit. It's a nice day. There's no wind. There's some clouds, but I don't think it'll be raining later on. I'll be doing this direction towards Barcelona from Madrid until I reach about 55% of battery. Then I'm going to turn around, because I don't want to get to exactly 50%, because I don't want to be, stranded with zero battery here. Now this car, in theory, can do 654 kilometers WLTP. That's not exactly the same as highway speed, but it still means that I'll be driving for a good 3 to 4 hours in order to exhaust the battery here. So for you guys, it'll probably be a couple of minutes of videos. For me, it's an entire Sunday morning. I have now been driving for 1 hour and 1 minute, and I've done 118.8 kilometers. So I'm doing 119 kilometers now at average speed, which is pretty darn good. And there's no traffic, there's nothing to really slow me down, which is wonderful and great for a test like this. Okay, I've turned around now, and I've done so far 165.1 kilometers, and I've spent 45% of the battery. Well, actually 43, right? Because I started out with 98%. So let's see how much we've left once we hit the charger on our way back. Half the test done, let's do the other half. We're done with the range test. We've done a total of 341 kilometers, but we still have 9% left on the battery, and we left at home with 98%. So we have to add another 11% on top of that, which means that this car can actually do 383 kilometers, spending 100% of the battery. Average consumption on this route has been 20.9 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. In order to charge another 200 kilometers, if we wanted to continue, we'll have to charge 41.8 kilowatt hours. We're at a fast charger, so let's go do that now. We're here at the Iberdrola fast charger. This is a 320 kilowatt fast charger, so it will be faster than whichever car we bring here. The limit will be whatever limit the car can take. Should be a good test for it now. So let's see what's the maximum charge rate we can get out of the Polestar 2, and how long time will it take us to recharge the equivalent of 200 kilometers, the 41.8 kilowatt hours. Let's go plug it in and see how it does. Okay, we are charging full power here. I just saw 205 there, but it's already gone down a little bit. It's now at 190, 191. I guess the car and the charger, they're balancing out a little bit, but we're definitely charging very, very quickly here. You can see it's got 420 volts of tension, charging at more than 400 amps. That's good. Let's see how long it takes. It shouldn't take too long to get to 200 kilometers. Will it do it in less than 15 minutes? Let's see. Okay, we've charged 20.9 kilowatt hours now, and that is the equivalent of 100 kilometers or 60 miles driven in this car. We've done it in 7 minutes and 40 seconds. So 7 minutes and 40 seconds, what's the time you need to stop in order to just make a quick stop for another 100 kilometers. Not bad. The charge speed has fallen now to 150 kilowatts, where before we saw all the way up to 205. We just reached the 41.8 kilowatt hours in 17 minutes. So if you want to do a road trip with this car and you want to stop, grab a bite and go another 200 kilometers, you need to do that in less than 17 minutes. That's not bad. You can see the charge rate has now dropped to 116 kilowatts, and we're at 59% battery. Let's find out how this thing goes. Supposedly it does 0 to 100 or 0 to 60 in 6.2 seconds. We're going to measure it with a Draghi. A Draghi is a high precision GPS. You put it on top of your car with a magnet. Here you go. And then it sends a Bluetooth signal to your phone, so you can at all times know exactly your speed, and it'll give me a very, very precise measurement of the 0 to 100 speed. So let's see. I'm gonna get in position. Then I'm going to reset it, and then it's as simple as just point and click. It pulls, slight elevation of the front end, which is normal. And there you go, that was 100. So let's see what it did. Certainly felt faster. Not quite sure though. What a beautiful day, eh? Okay, so here are the results. And it did it in 5.99 seconds, a smidge below 6 seconds. Fantastic. It also felt faster than the 6.2 that are the official numbers. So Polestar, you need to update your numbers because your car is better than what it says in the stats. We have 300 horsepower to the back wheels, which is a perfect setting for a car in my opinion. I far prefer rear wheel traction than front wheel traction, especially when it's wet and slippery. This is a fun car to drive. And oh yeah, it pulls a lot. Yeah, I like it. It's certainly a good thing that they changed it from front wheel to rear wheel drive. Much better. Let's see, if I now do a little bit of zigzagging here, it's very stable, easy to control. Wonderful. So what happens when I let go of the accelerator? Just taking my foot off the accelerator, doing nothing else. See if we come to a full stop. Oh yes, the marvels of one pedal driving. If you've never driven an electric car, you might think that this is a silly little non-important feature. But honestly, once you get used to it, the fact that you never ever have to touch the brakes unless something happens and something surprises you is wonderful for driving. It gives you full control over the car. In here, I can set it to standard, low, or completely turn it off if I don't want it to. Honestly, I prefer regen to be quite high. It gives me the freedom to really control the car just using, the accelerator pedal, and I don't ever have to touch the brake. I can use creep. Creep is like an ordinary car where you let go of the brakes and it starts creeping forward. There's not many other settings for how I can control the car, but honestly, that's all you really need. Some cars have like eco mode and range mode and this and that. This car, it just controls it for you. It does it really well. I like my regenerative braking to be as high as possible, and I like my steering to be firm, and I like all the power available to me as soon as I put my foot down. I love it. Great job. We're spoiled nowadays, right? I mean, 300 horsepower, and they're electric horsepower. So as soon as I touch the pedal, the car starts moving. Instantly, it's going. That's great. That's the way it should be. I remember my first car was a diesel, 84 or 87 horsepower, turbo diesel, maybe even. Nowadays, you get any old car that's electric. It's got 300, 400, 200, 500 horsepower. We're absolutely spoiled. And this car is wonderful to drive. Really like it. I also do like how the gear selector works. It's in the middle, it's chunky enough, even though it's sort of, again, got this Scandinavian thing with a hole in the middle, but it's intuitive and it's like, wow, I know where to use it. Don't use it much once you're driving, but when you're parking, for example, it's nice to have it there to go back and forth. Okay, but sometimes you do have to stop, and let's see what the brakes on this thing can do. I'm doing around 90 kilometers now, and I'm putting on the brakes right now. Oh my God. Certainly stopped. Yeah, and as you can see, the seatbelt tightened. It really hugged me. Very tight. Fantastic. There was no, torque steering anyway. It just kept me straight on. Good control. If I wanted to just, control the brakes little by little here, I can do that too. Yeah, I have high confidence in that this car will stop when it needs to stop, and it'll go when it needs to go. Inside, it's more of all this Scandinavian design. We've got some funky materials here. This isn't actually plastic, it's sort of a woven material. We find it here, we find it up front as well. This is a wood with paint on it. This is sort of like a speaker woven material as well, though it is not a speaker. Strange choice of materials. Gives me this luxury maybe more like very much a Scandinavian design. I like it very much, I must say. Got the dark or black headliner, which gives it a feeling of a bit more luxury in here. The seats are very nice, adjustable in many different ways. They are ventilated and they're heated. I even got a heated steering wheel. Very nice, I enjoy that. However, there's a little bit of a problem because it is a little bit cramped in here. This center console is very big, as you can see, it's not open down there. So I'm really sat in my booth here and I can't really move my legs around or change my position all that much. My right leg is a bit, squeezed in between the center console and the steering wheel. Don't get me wrong, it's a very nice place to be. Everything is very well designed and laid out and I'm comfortable in here. It's just a little bit cramped for a big guy like me. Funny though that here on the center console we've got a little pocket down here. I've got the same on the driver's side, but there's no pass-through as we see of many others. Perhaps it's because I've got my gear selector here in the middle, which is a classic gear selector in the middle, and it gives you a nice sporty sensation. You can sort of back for drive and front for rear. I've got my phone charger, screen 1, screen 2. More about those when we talk about technology in here. I've also got a cup holder here, and if I open this place here, I find another cup holder down there. You push this back and forth to find a good position. Driving this car is very comfortable. Both the driver and the passenger seats have electronic adjustments here where I can change the seat position, back, forward, up, down, and I can also recline the backrest. I can adjust lumbar support here, and I can even move this piece here back and forth just to give me a little bit of extra support below my knees. I can save each of these settings on 2 different memory settings here on the door. So if 2 people drive this car regularly, 1 could be 1 and 2 can be 2. Guess that's obvious. Inside the car you'll find this glass roof, which is absolutely amazing, and if you buy this car I would 100% recommend it. You can get it without it and you can save some money on that if you don't want it, but honestly this gives me such a feeling of open space and it's much more bright and nice in here with this. I can't actually cover it up, there's no electronic cover or any way to darken this, but the way it is right now I don't feel that a lot of sunlight or a lot of sun heat is coming through, so I think it'll be alright. Up here on top there's a space where I thought my sunglasses would go, but it's not for your sunglasses, it's just an open space, and funnily enough there's a little light in there that projects the Polestar logo upwards on the glass. For the birds? Don't know. What? Why? I mean, it's all right. It's nice, but only if you're a police helicopter or a bird will you see it. On the back seat of the Polestar 2, there are some space issues. This seat is adjusted to my normal driving position. I'm 190, and that's 6'4" for you Americans out there. And I've got very little space for my legs, and I got no headroom. I can literally not put my head back without touching the top liner here. I would have to scoot down a little bit and then my legs would have to go out to the sides here. So it's not enormous here in the back, despite this roofline that we see here. Maybe if they'd extended the glass a little bit further back, it would have been easier for me to fit, because once my head is beneath the glass, I have plenty of space here. I like the fact that the seats are ventilated and they're heated, and I can control it down here with buttons in the back, and I also have 2 USB-Cs for charging my devices. It's nice enough back here, but a big person behind another big person is going to struggle a bit. The Polestar 2 trunk has a big opening which gives us really easy access to this space, which is about 405 liters. Of course that's measured up to here where we have the cover coming down. If you do need a little bit of extra space, you can take out the cover and use the space up there. However, be careful. If you have an accident, don't have things that can pass into the passenger cabin, which could be dangerous. Other than that, it's a really, really well designed space. Let me show you what I mean. Back here we have the top tether for security for the little ones sitting in the front. We've got these 2 hooks here so we can tie things down. We've got a little rubber band here. We've got this here thing we can pull up. So if we've got, say, the shopping or whatever, we can hold it in place here, or if you've got, for example, a laptop computer, you can put it here. It's not going to slide around and get damaged in the entire space that we've got here. Really, really good use of space. We've got hooks for plastic bags up here. I like that, and everybody should be doing that. If you want more space, you can lift it up here and you'll find another bottom space here. You can even hold this up there. There you go. So you can put stuff in there. I guess there'll be around 50 liters extra down there. And of course, you can also pull this thing down here and open in the front if you want to put, I don't know, your skis or whatever shopping you've done at IKEA through there. It's really nice to see the attention to details with hooks and rubber bands and nets, etc. that helps you organize your stuff in the back so it won't jump around and get damaged. Very good. Let's check if there's a frunk on this thing. So to open it, we have to go in and pull on this lever here. It's not always a good sign. And there's a yellow thing we can grab onto there and lift it up. And there's a frunk. Fantastic. So here you can have your cables, your dirty tennis shoes, so they don't stink up the cabin inside. In fact, here you have the Polestar repair kit if you have a flat tire, and it fits perfectly well in there. They've made a specific space for it. Good move, Polestar. The Polestar 2 use the Android Automotive system from Google, and it's a delight to use. It's absolutely wonderful compared to so many of the other systems that we see in modern day cars. This one here is fast, it's intuitive, it's well designed, and it's easy to find your way around. Let me show you what I mean. If you look at the main screen here, it's very easy to see what's active, what's not active, and what I can click on and what I can't click on. I can put on the sport mode here, I can change the one pedal driving system. I can go in and I can go to the settings of the driver assistance, the charging, and there's more settings in here. All is super intuitive, and it is fast. It is extremely quick, which is wonderful. I can click on things and I can switch it around, and it's really, really good. The same thing goes for the screen I have in front of me. It's very intuitive. It's well designed. I can see clearly what things I'm using. I can see clearly all the numbers there, and it's not clogged with a lot of useless information. I have some buttons here on the steering wheel, on the left for driver assistance features, and on the right we have these multifunctional ones, which can be either used for the music, but sometimes I can also use it for example, navigating some menus I can put up on the screen here in front of me. Very good. Another wonderful feature about this is the voice recognition systems. So for example, okay Google, what's the temperature outside?
Currently in Villanueva de la Torre, it's 61 degrees.
Okay, so 61 degrees Fahrenheit outside. Okay, Google, what's Jim Morrison's biggest hit?
According to Wikipedia, Greatest Hits is a compilation album by American rock band The Doors, released in 1980. The album, along with the film Apocalypse Now, released the previous year, created for the band an entirely new audience of the generation that did not grow up with The Doors.
Oh yeah, that's true. So you can ask it anything basically you want to know. It'll Google it and it'll give you an answer in audio. Wonderful. You don't have to sit and stare at the screen. If you want to, and if you're stuck, you also have an internet browser. You've even got things like Spotify and YouTube built straight into the screen. Very good. There's one thing I'm not too keen on. It's the fact that there's so much bezel around the screen. It's quite wide. It's around 1.5 centimeters, or more than half an inch of just pure bezel, and it makes it look a bit old-fashioned and maybe even cheap, if I dare say so. You can install new apps through the Google Play Store. In fact, you have access to a whole bunch of different ones. They can be for charging, for route planning, for entertainment, and many, many other things. You can link it to a profile on Google, so you can use locations you've been to recently. If you have it on your phone, you have it on your car. It's very useful and a great system. We also have 4 cameras around the car, which helps me see the car from above. There's sort of this bird's eye view, which is okay for parking, but it distorts very much. So it's not always easy to see how much distance you have around your car. You can then use the actual cameras. You can access them one by one. The resolution is okay. It's not fantastic. And at night, they're very, very dark and they're not super helpful. You can also use the voice commands for things inside the car, like, okay, Google, turn on my seat heater.
Okay, turning on the seat heater for the driver.
Okay, Google, set the aircon to 16 degrees Celsius.
Sure, changing the AC to 16 degrees.
Okay, Google, stop the fans.
Okay, turning off fan.
And you can do a whole lot more. Okay, Google, open all windows.
Sorry, I can't adjust the windows of your car.
Okay, can't do that apparently. It's very rare that you sit in a car and oh, wait a second. Okay, Google, turn off my seat heaters.
Okay, turning off the seat heater for the driver.
It's very rare that you sit in a car and instantly, after just 1 minute in it, you know how to turn on the adaptive cruise control and the driver assistance features. You understand how the main screen works. You know where the gears are. You know how everything works around you, because a new car is like a completely new computer. You need to learn all the buttons and everything. But this system is so intuitive. It took me like literally seconds. I got in, sat down. Oh, here's my gear shifter. Here's how my ADAS works. Here's how my music works. And here's how the screen works. all incredibly easy and intuitive. And I think this is one of the best systems, if not the best system, you can get inside a car. So I'm driving using the driver assistance features, which maintains the car in the right lane, and it also maintains the correct distance to the car in front. It's very, very comfortable to use. It works perfectly. I've now done, I don't know, close to 100 kilometers using this. I haven't had to turn it off yet. The only time I turn it off or it disengages is when I put on the blinkers to have to change over to another lane if I have to overtake somebody. And then as soon as I'm in the new lane, it will automatically re-engage. I don't have to do anything. I like this system a lot. Okay, time to try and test the driver assistance features while I drive around in beautiful Spain. The Polestar 2 has a level 2 driver assistance feature, so it'll maintain the speed and keep the distance to the car in front of me, and it'll also maintain me in the right lane. It won't do lane changes, and it won't adapt the speed to the available speed limits on the road. So I have to do that manually. For example, here we have 40 kilometers per hour. It's quite slow, but we are in a construction zone here. It's very easy to use the system. You turn it on here on the left-hand side of the steering wheel. You have icons in the middle of the screen. It shows what's on and what's off. Let's see how it does the curve. As you can see, it now exits the curve. That's not great. It exits the curve without giving me any audible warning. So I really have to stay attentive when you're in a place like this with, curves that really, really are closed like this. This is also not great. It didn't do that right. I've noticed this quite often on these windy roads. This is not the place where you should be using this system as a standard thing and just, not worry about driving. You really, really need to pay attention to what's going on here. However, it is a very capable system. It does keep me very well in the lane, and if there's like a pothole, I can adjust it a little bit and avoid the pothole, and then it'll get back in the middle of the lane as well, which is nice. It detects my hands by torque, so if I just hold it like this, it won't detect them. It does actually have to notice a little bit of weight, so it's almost easier just to have one hand either up here or down there in order for the system to detect that I'm actually holding on to the steering wheel. In that way, it is similar to the Tesla Autopilot. On highways, this system works extremely well. When I'm going 120 down the highway, I don't really need to do anything. It'll keep me perfectly well in the lane. It'll keep I have to help it going around this turn. Yeah, it's not great here. On the highway, however, it is fantastic. It is one of the most capable systems on the highway. It really keeps me in the lane, keeps the distance. It doesn't have any phantom braking or anything like that. So yeah, very good system, very capable. But if you use it, you do need to know the limitations of when not to use it or when to really, really stay attentive when you are using this system. This does not take over the driving. You are still responsible at all times when you're behind the wheel. Again, it'll sometimes huck the inner lane. So here was a curve to the right, so it hucks the inner lane a bit. Here's a funny thing. I've got 80 kilometers limit here, and 100 meters further, I've got 40 kilometers speed limit. I'm just going to go down to 40 and see how it drives around here. I have a car behind me, which I'm sure he's very annoyed at us going 40. 40 is quite slow. And here it's 30 once you veer off to the right here. System's doing a good job as long as it's not too windy a road. This is a nice system. I do like it. I would like it to give me an audible alert once it exits the lane involuntarily. But hey, details, right? The Polestar 2 starts at 52,700, but that's the version with the smaller battery. If you want the larger battery and all the extras we have in this one, like the LED matrix headlights and the glass roof, then we're talking about 67,100 euros. And that's quite a different number. In fact, it's similar to the Hyundai Ioniq 6, and it's almost the same, or it's up there with the BMW i4. And of course, it's quite a lot more than the Tesla Model 3. And it's inevitable that when you choose this car, you will first have had a look at the Tesla Model 3 as well. So the question I have is, do you guys think that this is luxurious enough, that this is a nice enough package that warrants a higher price compared to a Tesla Model 3? Because that is really where the competition is at. Let's go through the final scores. Range and efficiency. This category accounts for 20% of the total score, and the rating is a mathematical calculation based on the range and consumption achieved. The Polestar 2 long-range single motor has a declared WLTP of 657 kilometers, so it's somewhat disappointing that it only managed to cover 383 kilometers using 100% of the battery. In fact, this is the biggest discrepancy we've ever had in an ElectroExam between the declared WLTP and the actual kilometers achieved. The Polestar has traveled 40% less than what the WLTP standard claims. Even so, 383 kilometer scores it 6.5 points. Charging experience. This category counts for 10% of the total, and again, it's a mathematical calculation based on time and speed of charge. The Polestar 2 charges at a maximum of 220 kilowatts and maintains a high speed over a good range of the charging session, so charging 200 kilometers only takes 17 minutes. This is a really good time, and it's a pleasure to travel with this vehicle. It also has all the necessary settings like route planning, a charge speed adjustment. All I'm missing is bidirectional charging. It still scores 8 points in the charging category. Performance and driving. Like the previous two categories, it's a mathematical calculation based on acceleration, where it reaches 100 km per hour in 5.99 seconds, which would give it 6 points. However, we add a point for the good regenerative braking, the excellent suspension, the sporty feel, and the possible settings in the driving menu. Its final score in this category is 7. Interior and quality. This accounts for 15% of the total score. The interior of the Polestar 2 has personality, and it is a very pleasant place to be, albeit non-traditional materials, which is a point in its favor, I guess. It also has a trunk that, although not the largest, has a good distribution that makes it very functional, and the same goes for the frunk. As a negative point, the interior space is a bit tight for passengers, and the central tunnel takes up space both in the rear seats and in the front. I give it 7.5 points for interior and quality. Exterior and design. I really like the look of the Polestar 2. It has personality, elegance, and that Scandinavian touch that I, as a Dane, have to appreciate. Perhaps its design is somewhat conservative, which is certainly noticeable in the range of possible colors. I still give it 8 points though. Technology. Here the Polestar stands out. Its infotainment system is an absolute delight to use, and it shows that it's been developed by expert software engineers with user experience in mind rather than automotive engineers. It also has Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, several cameras, and everything is just well done. 9 points for its technology. Driving assistance. Polestar's Level 2 driving aids are reliable and work well. Both the adaptive cruise control and lane keeping are top-notch. It's appreciated that it's a collaborative system where the driver can make small adjustments without deactivating the system. It lacks automatic speed adjustments according to signs and other small details. However, we still give it 8 points. Price. The Polestar 2 has a correct starting price, but the extras quickly increase it. As a brand, it competes directly with the Tesla Model 3, and in terms of price, it clearly loses. But it's cheaper than other alternatives like the Hyundai Ioniq 6 and the BMW i4. That's why it earned 5 points for the price. However, it falls outside of the MOVE's government help plan here in Spain, which forces me to lower it to 4. Wildcard. The Polestar 2 has a voice recognition system so good and versatile that I feel like giving it an extra wildcard point. It's absolutely brilliant. Thus, taking into account the weight of each category and the scores obtained, we arrive at a final score of 69 out of 100 points. If you want to compare this score and change the weight according to your own preferences for each category, you can do so on our website, linked below in the description. So there are certainly plenty of good reasons to choose the Polestar 2. I think it drives very well. The range is good, the charging is good, the interior system with this Android Automotive is absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I very much like this car, and I hope you've liked and enjoyed this video as well. If you did, please subscribe, please hit the like button, and I hope to see you again soon with yet another ElectroExam. I've got plenty in the works. Thank you very much. Catch you later.